Hey, this is Sean from Property Edition, and today's episode we're going to be exploring landed homes in Singapore. Now, we all know that the residential landscape in Singapore has been dominated by the new launches in recent months. But amidst all that buzz, a landed property is still a gem not to be missed. Singapore has one of the highest home ownership rates globally, but yet owning a landed property can still be challenging for many Singaporeans. In fact, according to Singapore Department of Statistics Singstat, only about 5% of the population lives in these exclusive properties. So what makes a landed property so special? Well, the government haven't released any land for the development of landed homes for the last 5 years. Yeah, whether it's a freehold or a 99-year leasehold, these properties are in high demand and often comes with a hefty price tag. And with limited land availability, developers gotta be creative. So they purchase large plot of older land and then they demolish the existing home and build a greater number of smaller landed houses. Now, it's a unique approach to meet this demand for these highly sought after properties. Now, as of the first quarter of 2023, Singapore boasts around 73,000 landed homes, which is less than 19% of the total private housing stock. Talk about scarcity. Now, in the past decade, the number of landed homes has only increased by 4.1%, while the non-landed counterparts have experienced a staggering growth of 53.4% during the same period. So in fact, over the last 20 years, only about 7,000 new landed homes were added to the private home inventory, as compared to almost 180,000 new non-landed units. It's clear why landed homes are considered a prized possession. So back in 2019, the dark COVID days, the pandemic has created a huge impact on the landed property market. And as people spend more time at home and they realize that they need a larger living space and the outdoor areas, which is a luxury. So consequently, the price of landed homes has skyrocketed and outpaced the growth of the non-landed properties. So it's no wonder that owning a landed home will become more desirable during these challenging times. Urban Redevelopment Authority URA has divided Singapore into three main regions, which is the URA call it the market segments, and they are the CCR, which is Central Core Region, RCR, which is the rest of the Central Region, and the OCR, which is the outside Central Region. The location determines the price, and the OCR, which is the outside Central Region, is the most affordable region to buy landed properties, while the CCR, which is the Central Core Region, is the most expensive. And it is also home to the good class bungalows, which is known to be the home of the wealthiest in Singapore. So which type of landed properties can you find in Singapore? Let's take a closer look. Right, first up we have terrace houses, and the one that you see are the inter-terrace that's in the center, and the ones at the corner are called the corner terraces, and they are rows of houses that's joined by the common wall, and the land size range from about 885 to 2005 square feet with a build-up at about 1,000 to 5,005 square feet, and the price range from about 2.5 million to 5.5 million dollars. And terrace houses come in two types, and they are type 1 and type 2. And the main difference between them lies in the land size. So type 1 intermediate terrace houses are the bigger ones with a minimum plot size of 150 square meters and a width of 6 meters. On the other hand, the type 2 terrace houses have a minimum plot size of 80 square meters with a width of 6 meters. And take note that some terraces have a basement, which is like a 4-story landed houses. Now, next on the list are the semi-detached homes, which is also known as the semi-Ds. So the land size range from 2153 square feet to 5500 square feet. Okay, so these are the pair of adjacent houses separated by a common wall, and the semi-D offer a generous minimum plot size of 200 square meters and can be attached side by side or back to back. Now let's talk about bungalows, and these are some of the largest houses that you can find in Singapore, and these detached houses provide the ultimate exclusivity and privacy. And the land size for these houses range from about 3,000 to 10,000 square feet, and the build-up can be from 2,005 to 10,000 square feet, and the price starting from 6 million onwards to 20 million or more. Now, bungalows can be built in various designated landed housing areas that include semi-detached housing, mixed landed, bungalow, and the prestigious good class bungalow areas. Now, bungalows outside GCB zones have a minimum plot size of 400 square meters and a maximum size coverage of 50%. And on the other hand, bungalows inside GCB zone have a minimum plot size of 1,400 square meters and a maximum size coverage of 40%. Now, speaking of good class bungalow, this is the creme de la creme of residential properties in Singapore. The size of the land is simply unimaginable. Like the one behind me, which is our mansion, and that was actually in 2019 was bought at a whopping $120 million by a member of the Brunei royal family. So in 2019, Facebook's co-founder Eduardo Sovereigns bought a 84,500 square footage mansion that's situated at Nassim Road for $230 million. And just recently in early 2023, an Indonesian family has purchased 3 two-story good-class bungalows on Nassim Road District 10 in Singapore for a total of $206.7 million. Now, these luxurious mansions have a minimum land size of 1,000 square meters and a maximum built-up area of 4,500 square meters. And only a few privileged have the opportunity to call these magnificent estate homes, and there are currently over 2,700 good-class bungalows in 39 gazetted areas, and that's making up about 25% of the 10,000 detached homes in Singapore. Now, let's not forget about Shop House, this historically significant building that is unique to Singapore with a narrow terrace-like house structure with a land size of about 900 to 1,008 square feet and the build-out of about 1,000 to 6,000 square feet, and the price starting from $3 million to all the way as high as $29 million. Now, shop houses are typically 2 to 3 stories high with commercial properties on the ground floor and residential units above. And many shop houses like this has been transformed into alternative spaces, offices and homes, and there are locations like this in Joo Chiat, Telok Ayer, Amoy Street and Chinatown. A 3-story shop house on Stanley Street recently changed hands for $29 million, and according to the caveat that was launched on April 13, this property has a built-up area of 6,485 square feet and sits on a 1,729 square footage freehold land. And the price of $29 million make it the highest absolute price achieved for a shop house to date, and on a per square feet price basis, it works out to $4,472 per square feet. Now lastly, cluster housing. Now these properties combine the best of both worlds. You have the communal facilities of a condominium and the privacy of a landed property. The owners can enjoy amenities like swimming pool, gym, function room that's managed by the MCST. However, it's important to note that in the cluster housing, you cannot make any changes to the facade of the house as you do not own the land, as it is shared with the community. Now the built-in size range from 2,000 to 6,000 square feet, and the price starts from 2.8 million onwards. So what sets the landed properties apart from the non-landed properties is the key difference lies with the land title. Now when you own a landed property, you also own the land that it sits on, and this gives you the freedom to tear down, rebuild or even redesign according to your preference. And unlike strata properties, you won't have to deal with the monthly maintenance and parking fees, or will you be bounded by the typical condominium management rules. Now, can everyone who is rich and famous buy a landed property in Singapore? Well, as long as you have the pink IC, you are eligible to buy and you can own a landed property in Singapore. However, for foreigners and permanent residents, things work out a little bit different. So typically, foreigners including Singapore PRs are not allowed to buy landed properties in Singapore without obtaining the approval from Singapore Land Authority, which is a SLA under the Residential Property Act. So if you are a foreigner or a PR, then you got to seek the approval from SLA, which is really crucial if you wish to buy a landed property in Singapore. Now, it's worth noting that there are some exceptions for foreigners, such as the ability to purchase a landed property in Sentosa Cove. Now, however, prior to that, your approval from SLA is still required, but the process can be still very vigorous. Now, landed homes in Singapore is not just rare and coveted, but also a symbol of prestige and wealth. And with a limited supply, spaciousness and luxury, they continue to be highly desirable among all the homeowners. And while the market may experience fluctuations, and the allure of landed homes will endure in years to come. So remember, if you are considering or buying a landed property, it's always important to do your due diligence and always seek out, because there are so many important factors to consider from. I hope you enjoy watching this episode. My name is Sean from Property Edition. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.